Smells my burrito. Smell my burrito? You don't want my burrito. Yo, I got one of them fucking 58-cent burritos from Wally World. You know the ones, they're like the cheapest thing in the known universe. And every time that you get one, the instructions tell you to take it out of the package and loosely wrap it with a paper towel. I don't have any fucking paper towels. I'm not Willy Wonka, you know. Loosely wrap it with a paper towel. You know, so I don't have the money for all that shit. Fucking paper towels. Oh, we got a hero's way because I had to demonstrate that the game marks a kill and there's no way to erase it. Like, I'll just go back and do that. Can't extract diddly dick. Get some motherfucking runs out the way. Get Sadistic Dragon out here. Make sure he doesn't fucking die. And then, make sure he has some night vision giggles. Some night vision tee-hee. Night vision, haha, hee hee, ho ho, oh my. Hey, smoke grenades. Active decoy would really throw him through a loop, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Yeah, fire at him with the water pistol from way up yonder. Whatever. That seems good enough, right? Anyway. Yo, So I got these, so I got one of those 58-cent burritos from Wally World. Instructions say to like wrap loosely in a paper towel, and I don't have fucking paper towels, so I wrap it loosely in toilet paper. And it doesn't matter whether you do toilet paper or paper towels, it does not matter. The second that you made the decision to buy a 58-cent burrito, you made the decision that you're going to eat paper today. You can't get it back off. It doesn't matter how loosely you wrap it. It's going to get like ingrained in the fucking burrito itself. The burrito and the toilet paper or paper towel are going to become one entity. You understand? It's not good. It's not a good thing to happen. Today, so I went to the
Nice. That's the second one. That wasn't the last.
I went to the plasma place today. I gave plasma, donated some plasma, made some money. Pretty neat.
Completed your objective. Now get out of the hot zone.
I want to knock some people out. Reduce all this bullets coming our direction.
Run out of explosive. See anything in the area? Take a look around. If you need a supply drop, call it in from your iDroid.
Well, I kept a good portion of them from shooting at me. That was pretty nice. So normally I try to stuff myself before I leave. I live in McFucking Medora, Illinois, on the other side of the fucking globe, and I donate plasma at CSL in New Halls Ferry in St. Louis. It's a barrel of laughs. I highly fucking recommend it. But it's a long drive, right? It's a long drive. So you got to get from A to B. Then it all depends on the line. Everything from then on out is dependent on the line. If the line is short, you might be able to get out of there without getting hungry. But if the line is long, you're out of options. And the thing is, like, I found out that I can't really eat food, like, on the way up there, because the digestion of this food that I've eaten will fuck me up, man. It'll raise my heart rate, and then I'll have to wait for 15 minutes. It won't be good. It just won't be good. So that was that. And I'm like racking my brain trying to think of like what can I make that's simultaneously low in my car. What could I possibly do to save this situation? I can't think of anything. Like, if something is low sodium, then it's usually not shelf stable. It's like, fuck me, dude. Even, one of the ingredients to hardtack just so happens to be salt. You don't have to put much in there, but salt. And I wouldn't really consider that shelf stable. Well, maybe it's shelf stable if you like vacuum seal it. Maybe that's the secret behind crackers and how they can remain on the store shelf for fucking ages before the store is forced to do something about it. I don't know. I don't know the secrets here. Then again, hardtack is also not like a meal ready to eat in any capacity. Hardtack also happens to be ridiculous. I was talking to my cousin one day. I have this genius cousin that graduated high school at age 14. So he's gonna like cure cancer or some shit. I don't know. But I was talking to him one day, and me and him, we share a fascination with the Townsend's YouTube channel. So we're both talking about the Townsend's YouTube channel. And I said, you know, I thought about making some hardtack. It's a little difficult. You got to bake it like 2 or 3 times at very low temperatures for a very large amount of time. So, you know, it's kind of a pain in the ass. And I said, then I was just like, well, what am I going to eat with it? Because it's not like you can just fucking raw dog that shit. And so I thought, like, on the property that I'm staying at, there's they're these native, like, blackberry bushes. And they sprout for 11 seconds every year. And then it's done. It's over with. There's no more.
Anything in the area? Take a look around.
Who the fuck's seeing me over here? I guess that guy. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I can head out there and I can grab a bunch of these blackberries during the 11 seconds each year.
Mission complete, man.
That the blackberries bloom out there. So maybe that's an option. Maybe that's something I can do. And then I was just like, yeah, like crackers and jam. That'll be fine and dandy. That'll work. So then I was like, then I did a little bit more research on hardtack because I thought it was like a cracker. You know, I thought it was a cracker at the end of the day. And I was explaining this to my cousin. And he said, yeah, the only thing that you'll crack with hardtack is your fucking teeth. It's like, yeah, like there's like instructions on how to eat hardtack. Either way, I still don't know. So like way back whenever I was in the Navy active duty, back in like 2009, whenever I just got stationed over at Tinker Air Force Base, I was done with all this wishy-washy bullshit. Now I was back in the States, and I could, like, stick to a solid diet regime, you know? And so I looked around, and I found CrossFit, and CrossFit at the time was doing paleo. And so I was just like, okay, I'll just do paleo. And like there were several steps to it. It wasn't just like, oh, let me pull a bunch of willpower out. First, I had to go ahead and start eating the same things every day. Then I was eating like the same things every day, but having them like be organic and grass-fed and whatever. There's nothing I can do about that, is there? Guy's wearing full riot gear. With an unupgraded helicopter, this whole run can get pretty dicey. See? This one's upgraded. And it's still dicey. Distinguished Service Medal. Now we can switch to one of the other Diamond Dogs. So anyway, back at the tail end of my Navy days, first I had to start eating the same thing every day. Then, after I got used to that, and that was really a budgeting concern. I was like, you know, I'm leaving the United States military at some point in time in the near future, so like I want to know how much money I spend on food. You know, how much money do I need to make each month on the outside world? You know, all this kind of crap. So I was like sussing this out, and the best way to suss that out is to just, you know, get in there, you know, jump on in. Jump on into it. So whatever. I switched to another diamond dog. These two have their distinguished service medal or whatever. So first I had to eat the same thing every day. Then I had to switch out the things I was eating for organic versions, like as raw and organic as it could possibly be, as I was at the time being instructed to do by Eben Pagan, famous serial entrepreneur, because I thought I was going to be an entrepreneur whenever I left the Navy. Active duty, at least.
Boss,
I was obviously wrong. Then I had to start switching those to more paleo ingredients. I found out that I could, you know, eventually, over time, I found out that I could eat the exact same things that I was eating before and just switch out the ingredients. You know, you have like arrowroot flour and cassava flour, and people like swear up and down that it's not the same thing, but you can get it pretty close, pretty similar.
Nice. That's the second one.
One of the other great things that Tim Ferriss talked about in the 4-hour work week was he was like, you know, what would you do? Like, what's the dealio? What would you do if you had you know, all the money in the world? Like, what would you do if you had fucking infinite money? What would your day-to-day life be like?
Run out of explosives. Be anything in the area? Take a look around.
It's like, what would that really look like for you? And so he tries to get you to imagine a sort of day-to-day basis. And it's like, if you're gonna eat steak and lobster every day, then let's see what's gonna happen here. See, I told you it was a little dicey.
What happened? Boss!
I don't know what to do about that. I think I'm gonna throw smoke grenades first, then stun grenades. That's how I got out whenever I was doing this before with all the other buddies.
Boss, you need to disable the Soviets' reinforcement system by putting a hole in their base-to-base comms network.
Well, with D-Dog at least.
Head for the Eastern Communications Post and destroy its comms equipment. First, use the binoculars to locate the communications equipment at the facility.
So, so at first it was like eat the same things every day, and then it became easier to switch to organic and raw versions, and then, you know, whenever that wasn't giving me the results that I wanted, it was all about switching everything out with paleo versions of everything I was already eating.
You've run out of explosives. See anything in the area? Take a look. Supply drop in your iDroid.
Looks like I got most of them. Yeah, some of them still got armaments up. I mostly avoided most of the damage. But the main thing was a defense, you know?
Mission complete.
And the best defense is a good offense, right? So, my whole thing was right outside the gate, and this is true of every single military base, probably on planet Earth, at least the United States ones. There's this, like, as soon as you get off base, there's this sprawling metropolis of all these things for you to fucking spend your money on. And so, all of the fast food places are going to be right off base. All of them. So, every time I left the base for... It's already in... It's pretty much inside Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And so, like, wherever things are going to be, it's going to be there inside the state. So that was the full extent of it. It was like every time I went off base, I got assaulted with all the smells and everything from the fast food places, and there was a million of them. So I developed a defense, right? Every time I got a craving, say I would just take, I would buy a bunch of vegetable chips, beef jerky, and almonds, just raw almonds. No salt, no nothing. And each and every time that I would get hungry out and about, I would stuff my face with those three things. I also kept a ton of bottled water in my car at all points in time. There's that decoy. Did you see the thing? It said dispose of decoy. So that was my thing. Son of a bitch, dude.
Snake, talk to me! Snake! Snake!
We are not doing well. So you can't crave anything if you're full.
Boss, you need to disable
that was a mindset.
reinforcement system.
You can't crave anything if you're full.
Network. Head for the Eastern Communications Post and destroy its comms equipment. First, use the binoculars to locate the communications equipment at the facility.
So if I craved anything at all, I would just start stuffing my face with the crap I had in my car. And that was acceptable back then because I wasn't really like looking out for sodium or anything like that.
Destroy the remaining antennas.
I wasn't worried about that.
Nice. That's the second one.
It was not a concern. I didn't have blood pressure medication like I do now. I was young. It didn't matter what the hell I did. Okay, so let's just chuck them in this big general pattern. Hope for the best. Instead of trying to aim them in any way, shape, or form.
See anything in the area? Take a look around.
Didn't do a very good job that time. Sucks.
Boss, come in.
Missions with her. I mean, you can. the way that you get all the code names as fast as possible is by doing lingua franca over and over and over again. Believe it or not, relatively easy. Why not? So I don't know what to do in that regards. Next month I can try to go ahead and get a big pack of almonds, but they're very calorically dense. I don't know if my dietitian's gonna want me to do that, but definitely not the vegetable chips that I used to do, and definitely not the old whatchamacallit. the beef jerky, and yes, I tried to make my own damn beef jerky back then, and it was a nightmare. I had this dehydrator, and I would take this beef, and first and foremost, the beef was already like too expensive. It's too fucking expensive. Somewhere around there. That's where the bike count is.
Be careful down there, boss.
So, I have this dehydrator, and I would like take this beef and I would put it in the dehydrator in like thin strips. I even had this, like, there was this little beef jerky gun that it came with, and I would buy the leanest beef. And like I said, it's already more expensive. It's already too expensive. It's already cheaper to just, you know, have just go buy the damn beef jerky. And I wasn't even, like, privy to bulk stores yet. Like, I'd never heard of Sam's Club. I'd never heard of Costco at that point in time in my life. It was already, like, as long as you bought it in bulk, then it was cheaper. But instead, I'd sit there. I had the damn food dehydrator, and I would put thin strips of meat through this jerky gun that came with the food dehydrator. And then once everything was said and done,
If you're going to use a weapon, be careful not to draw the enemy's attention.
once it was said and done, it would sit in there for fucking hours. And I would have to sit there and pat dry each individual thing of beef.
Situation must be worse than we thought.
And I'd pat it dry, and I would pat it dry, and I'd pat it dry. Again and again and again and again. It was a fucking nightmare. It never ended. Each time with hours in between pattings. And you couldn't get it just right. There was only two different things that could possibly happen. Thing number one is that... Thing number one possibility was that you would get it undercooked and it would kill you. Well, not kill you, because you can eat like beef tartare and stuff, but still. So you could get undercooked. But thing number two was that you would get a beef flavored cracker, you know.
Mission complete.
A thin beef flavored cracker. Not good. You could mix it with some of like the dehydrator, and the jerky gun came with all of these different mixes that you can put in there to season it. It didn't matter. You'd still spend an inordinate amount of time patting dry each and every little strip of beef over and over and over again until you were done with life, until you said fuck this, decided to never do this ever again. This is ridiculous. I'm going to need to steal a vehicle. Try to do this a smidge faster. The only reason that they're able to whoop my ass so thoroughly in C2W, two reasons. One, because the helicopter is not upgraded super duper well. But number two is because I'm not able to go on dispatch missions and remove all of their big hefty equipment. And the only thing that's going to do is reduce its dispatch time. At least once the armor is done, then we'll be able to take more hits. Try it again. I was gonna say let's grab some tapes while we're here, but one thing I wanted to point out was that in yesterday's broadcast there was this random dead body in the mission Where Did the Bee Sleep? And I didn't know where the hell it came from. And it popped into my head at some point in time today, and I realized what happened. What happened was that person walked into their own minefield. It happens all the time whenever you're on the side ops. Because on the side ops, oh look at that, 4-wheel drive. I didn't know if it was going to be here or not. But that's convenient.
Don't move. Get down. Spit it out.
Where are the others?
Thank God he only soft spotted us. Damn it, Quiet, will you fucking scout this place? Pretty please with cheese on top. She doesn't do as good a job as D-Dog, but better than nothing. Better than going in here blind like I am.
He's coming too. Roger that.
Normally, she only agrees to scout if you're not here. So she might just fucking refuse to do that.
Where are the others?
See, she started to mark some guys. It's really fun. So,
Subject on board.
with the army, you get to learn how to like scout. So it goes a little bit like this, right? So in the army, whenever you're trying to get from A to B, and there's like an outpost or a weapons cache that you have to take down or fucking whatever,
You gotta extract him.
first you break your platoon.
Where are your friends?
first you break your platoon into squads. So, like at least 4 squads or thereabouts. She's like zeroing in
Subject on board.
on that one guy way the fuck over there.
Spit it out.
Just waiting for the order. This one, boss? I'll kill this one if you want. It's like the water boy with Vicky Valancourt.
Roger that.
What was the name of that actor? Something Byruza. I can't remember.
Where are the others?
But apparently, like after Waterboy, she really just like started doing nothing but like voice work. I think
You gotta extract him.
it's like Cameron Diaz. Like Cameron Diaz didn't actually disappear; she just went into voice work. I mean, if you're gonna pick and choose between the two, then you just do voice work, right? Be in your pajamas, yell at a microphone, easy peasy, right? And you can say like, well, you know, voice work is more than that. Yeah, voice work is more than that, but it's less than fucking acting. I don't think anybody can, with a straight face, try to tell you that that acting is on par with voice work, because it's not. Just straight up isn't. And anybody who's done both will tell you that with a smile on their face. It's like, yeah. I'd fucking way rather do voice work.
Where are your friends?
You got people like Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks gained some ridiculous amount of weight for the first half of Castaway.
Coming too. Roger that.
And then he lost a ridiculous amount of weight for the second half of Castaway. It's like, what a fucking pain in the ass. Oh, what's Christian Bale? Christian Bale lost a fuckload of weight for The Machinist. Like, he was as skinny gets in The Machinist. And then he immediately gained, like, what was it, like 60 pounds of muscle in order to play Batman in the Dark Knight series. It's like, it's crazy. Actors will put themselves through some fucking wild and crazy shit. And, you know, not to mention that every now and again, somebody fucking dies whenever they're acting. Yeah, you can't forget that part. Like, the whole Omen series was... the whole Omen series... It was like cursed. The whole Omen series was like cursed. Which, like, if there's going to be a series that's cursed, it's probably going to be the series about, you know, the Antichrist, or whatever the hell it was all about. But, like I think a bunch of people, like, fucking died during the production of the Omen movies way back when. Damn it, that's gonna take out my Jeep. Ah. That's quiet humming, by the way. That's what she does. I remember when Miller was just like, "This is ridiculous. How are you guys going to communicate?" And then that point was never addressed, and now suddenly we're just buddy-buddy doing whatever. Just once, I want the answer from the control point to be like, I don't know. Do whatever you feel like, man. I'm not your dad. You're the one that signed up for this line of work. You figure it out. Time I see these lazy bastards. Come on over here, investigating the noise. Okie dokie, that's damn near everything. And are you the last man? No, of course not. Some lazy bastards out here somewhere. There he is. There's one of them.
You gotta extract him.
Don't move. Spit it out. Where are your friends?
I mean, like, there's also the whole controversy with one of the Baldwins shot somebody to death.
Roger that.
And that was like fairly recently. And of course, Bruce Lee died because he used to get horrendous headaches. He had migraines. And he asked for a painkiller, and one of his friends got him a painkiller. And it was a drug called Mgsv. And it caused him to have a cerebral edema, a drastic swelling of the brain fluids, killing him. That was old Bruce Lee, and his son, Brandon Lee, died while filming The Crow because apparently during like the action segments they would during the action segments they would have proper blanks and they'd be shooting at each other, or even rather like near each other with blanks.
Hands up. Speak. Where are the others?
But then during these close-up sequences, cells.
Subject on board.
And during those sequences, suddenly they would put like actual empty rounds so that they could, you know, show the gun cycling. And then somehow or another, some jackass on set fucking managed to load an actual cartridge into an empty powder charge and like a revolver. I don't know how the fuck that you make a mistake like that. How do you make a mistake like that? Tell me. I have no fucking idea how you can make a mistake so dire and so grave. Because, like, you're cramming, like, these empty cartridges into, like, a revolver or some shit. And then, like, as part of that process, you don't notice that there's, like, an issue here. That there's already powder in one of the damn, like, holes. Like, wow, I've got a lot of resistance in this one fucking hole in this gun. And I've got to do this precisely right because this is a gun. So let me just not stop and check at all. Just fucking do it, get it over with. And that's why Brandon Lee was shot and died on set whenever he was filming The Crow. Which people think is like a cult classic. Go watch it again. It's not that good. I think people like the comic better. It's like, yeah, that's the same thing as what happened with The Walking Dead, right? People liked the comic and they didn't really like the show that much. I'll tell you what. You know, I watched the show for a long time. And for a long time, like whenever you're mentally ill, yeah, I know, I keep pulling this up like it's, you know, like it's some sort of card. I don't have it in my Tumblr bio, I promise. I'm not self-diagnosed either, so. I've got the medical records to prove it. But whenever you're mentally ill, it's tough to just view something, right? So, like, here's the thing. Like, this is the way that it was sort of explained to me, and I think that it does a pretty good job. Imagine, like, all things are at, like a 5 out of 10, right? That your mood on a day-to-day basis, it's generally a 5 out of 10, right? Well, according to Dr. Csikszentmihalyi, who wrote Flow, the Psychology of Optimal Experience, personal experience, can't remember which. According to Mgsv Csikszentmihalyi, Dr. Mgsv Csikszentmihalyi, whenever you spend more of your time balancing challenge and skill. So I brought this up in previous broadcasts. Good old Mgsv Csikszentmihalyi. You are not relevant. There we go. You know, fuck your side up. I've got a mission to do. So, he said that whenever something is too difficult or your skill level is too low, whenever either of those conditions are met, then the activity that you are performing is going to become frustrating, right? So it's fairly easy for you to, you know, figure that out. Okay. if
The interrogator. We've used info from the intel unit to predict the interpreter's location. It's on your iDrive.
if you're performing an activity that is hyper difficult or your skill level is extremely low, then it is going to become a frustrating activity. If your skill level is too high or the task that you are performing is too easy, if either of those conditions are met, then you will become bored. And remember, boredom is the feeling that we, as human beings, avoid more than any other. And we've got the scientific evidence. You can actually witness the actual study, well, at least a redo of that study on Mindfield, starring Michael from Vsauce, on YouTube Red. So you don't have to take my word for it. The rain covered up the sound of my footsteps. That's why he couldn't hear me. I was sprinting up to him, full speed.
Before you use a weapon, be careful not to draw the enemy's attention. That looks like the target.
Let's hope the mission doesn't fail. Oh, I got a 100% chance to rescue him for some reason. It's weird. 90% chance for the soldier, but the Viscount, also a human, 100%. Okie dokie. Whatever. This is your world, I'm just living in it. Distinguished Service Medal!
Mission complete, and how? Boss, now that the Viscount is no longer with the CFA, he says he wants to work for us. Something about him bugs me, but he did pay us for the contract, and he'll probably come in useful for something. See if you can find a place for him. According to the Viscount, the CFA planned to switch sides from the United Rebels to support the MPLA government forces in exchange for oil field rights. By the way, boss, we got some interesting news out of our friend the Viscount. He mentioned that more than a few PFs in the region have purchased walker gears. The CFA's the same. That's Soviet Army technology, and it's still a prototype. Only Cypher could be leaking it to the PFs. But the question is, why?
See, without the other 3 prisoners to tattle on him, all Miller has is a hunch. It's like, I don't fucking like this Viscount guy, and I don't know why, but... Anyways... I guess we can employ him anyhow. Alright, big man. As if you fucking run this show. Then again, Snake did specifically request that he tell him what to do just like he used to. After the first mission, Phantom Limbs, I think. Mission 1. After we got out of the hospital in Decalia. So, yeah, there's not too many deaths in voice acting. Yet on me. And they ran into that fucking explosive barrel there. Now you gotta take this with a grain of salt. I used to think that burn notice was like the bee's knees, and like it had been put together by like several different special warfare people overseeing production and all this kind of stuff. I thought it was accurate. It's not. There's like there's been a lot of back in the day Mythbusters episodes specifically regarding different stunts that they pulled and burn notice. So it's not quite that accurate, but in the first season, earlier on in the season too, they talked about these like blue barrels, I think, that you'll see all around in Florida, because the show takes place in Miami, right? And he says there's some sort of accelerant in these blue barrels for some reason, for some sort of disaster relief purposes. I don't know. He's like, yeah, you're going to see these barrels all over the place here in Florida, especially this close to the shoreline, and you know, therefore, it says, you know, like, you're going to see this shit everywhere. It's like, therefore, you can just...
One of these prisoners is the rescue target, a guy known as the Viscount. The target's location is unknown. They're bound to have an interpreter present when they interrogate him. We've used info from the intel unit to predict the interpreter's location. It's on your iDroid. Follow the interpreter and extract the target when you find him.
That's another brand new experience. I've never had that happen. I've been shocked by falling power lines in this game before, but I've never had it happen in a vehicle. That was wild. I'm telling you, dear viewer, your presence here is getting me all sorts of brand new experiences out of this game. I'm squeezing the fuck out of this lemon here, but I'm still getting some fucking juice. Like, you know, the lemon is still producing juice. It's fucking strange, you know? One of the things that I gotta try is Brazilian lemonade, which is made out of limes. And you grind up the entire lime. I'll have to clean out my Vitamix first. I sprung for a Vitamix. I was tired of putting magic bullets back together over and over and over again. Not the marital aid. Because I know there's a marital aid called a magic bullet.
If you're going to use a weapon, be careful not to draw the enemy's attention.
The damn blender.
Talk. Where are your friends?
But there was a version of the magic bullet or the NutriBullet, one or the other, doesn't matter. There was a version of it that was like ultra high powered, and it was supposed to be able to handle bulletproof coffee. The big thing about blenders is that they're designed for cold beverages, and they're going to be fine for a long time. But whenever you try to throw hot beverages in there, it fucks with the system, and it just like it makes it so, I don't know the fucking science behind it, but it tears up blenders if you try to, you know, blend up hot beverages. So the bulletproof diet people, you know, Dave Asprey and his crew and his team and whatnot, those people, they recommend you you get a Vitamix, or at their actual coffee shop, they don't even use a Vitamix. They use a Blendtec blender. You know, the ones that had the Will It Blend commercials. So they'd like blend up an iPhone or some shit. Now this is becoming a pain because if we don't increase the bond level between us and Quiet after the next time that we run through this mission, then we're going to try something different. I don't know if we need to deploy with her and she doesn't like missions that start in free roam or what. But I think that we should have bumped up a bond level by now. It's usually every 3 missions we bump up a bond level. But so far so bad. Anyway, for a notice, apparently there's explosive barrels just sitting around Florida. I don't know the truth or validity of that. Remember, my father spent the majority of his time. I mean, he was always living pretty far from the ocean, because the closer you get to the ocean, the more it's going to cost, right? But you know, he spent an inordinate amount of time in Kissimmee at the 7-mile marker from Disney World. But he also lived in Daytona. I think he lives in Davenport now. He lived in Daytona for a while. He lived in Tampa for a while. But he was always pretty far from the ocean, so apparently those things are closer to the ocean. I've never been to Miami. So I don't plan on going either. If it's anything like the rest of the state, they can keep it. It's like I don't know what the fuck people do if they've got like frizzy hair. I don't know what the hell happens. For people with frizzy hair in Florida, it has to be a fucking nightmare. Florida is so moist. It's so moist, if you fucking hang a dry towel outside, it'll be soaking wet before the end of the day. Any day of the year. It's fucking ridiculous. The whole state is just moist and ugh. I was talking to the dental assistant that was taking teeth out of my head, putting teeth into my head, whatever the hell they were doing. He was doing my dental clinic. That's what he was doing. And we were talking about it, and I said, you know, my cousins live down in Florida. You know, my grandfather on my mother's side lived in Florida for a long time after he moved out of New York. Her actual father, I'm living on my step-grandfather's land. But he's gone now, you know, God rest his soul and whatnot, but he, so he lived in Florida for a while, and also my aunt, my oldest aunt, my mom's, like, directly blood-related, completely blood-related sister, she lived in Florida for fucking forever for some reason. I don't know why, because she's never had that much money. Never. But she lived in Florida for the longest time. And my cousins, my mother's 100% blood-related sister's kids, they had to live with their mom, of course, right? And they ended up being fucking pale as shit. And the whole thing was that, like, they wouldn't go outside. And whenever I did a semester in Poinciana High School in Florida, while my mother got divorced from my stepfather, father of 2 out of 3 of my little brothers. When my mother got divorced from him,
Amazing. Mission complete.
She sent me to live with my dad. Yeah, I'm gonna have to deploy in this mission. It's just not going fast enough. But bond level is not increasing. Not fast enough. But while my mother was getting divorced from my stepfather for like 14 years or something like that, she managed to convince my father to take care of me. And that lasted one entire semester, the second half of my freshman year in high school. And it wasn't a fun time because my father married he married a woman who's very overprotective of her children, but she did not consider me one of her children, which is weird because my father he managed. Remember, my father like left me and my mother whenever I was like 3 years old or some shit. And I forgot to switch out my character, but it doesn't matter. I'll do it next time. So my father left me and my mother whenever I was about 3 years old or something like that, maybe even beforehand. And he never paid a dime of child support, but he married this woman that has 5 children. And he just stepped right into that role. He was just like, oh, okay, I'm the stepdad. And like, they were his kids. Like, I don't even know if they called him dad at any point in time, but I wouldn't doubt it. Apparently their dad was a real piece of work until he died in a motorcycle crash. God rest his soul and whatnot, but, you know, like, he's probably earned it from them by now. And that's the thing, you know, people can, you know, you get a lot of, like, serial killers that are, like, good family men, you know. Not that my dad is a serial killer or even the equivalent, but, you know, like, people can be a not-so-swell person to one person, or in one area of their life, and be fucking, you know, immaculate in all other areas. That was kind of the point behind that book, The Child Called It, right? So, like, there's this strange amount of people who decide to mistreat a single one of their children, just make a scapegoat. And so, you know, I don't know, I've never read that book either. I heard a lot about it, but I never read that book either. But yeah, you know, my dad was a swell stepfather, but my stepmother over there was very overprotective of her kids and simultaneously did not consider me one of her kids. She did not step into the role of stepmother very well.
If you're going to use a weapon, be careful not to draw the enemy's attention.
The way I saw it whenever I was a kid was that my father at the time was a real estate appraiser, but he was like in training or something like that. So he wasn't running his own business yet. And so as a result, he was only pulling in about $500 a month that he said. And this was in Kissimmee, Florida, so it was not good, you know. In the meantime, his wife at the time was earning $25 an hour selling something that helped other people sell timeshares, which is something that nobody wants. Telling her that they've been trying to get rid of this timeshare for ages, and now they're finally going to get out from under it. But really, all she was, you know, telling them is that all she was selling them was a $500 blurb. It was like 2 lines and a newspaper full of lines. And so she was selling them a listing, an advertisement for $500. And for each sale, she got an extra $50 or something like that. I think it was a 10% commission, so it's $50. And the bond level still didn't go up. I'm going to try to deploy again and see if that does the trick. Maybe you need to deploy. Maybe you need to deploy and then get back on the helicopter afterward. I don't know. I can also try customizing the helicopter and slapping on those improvements. Ass missile. What do you mean armor none? It must not be done developing the armor yet. What did I tell you? We're 2 mics away. So the way I saw it was that since my father was only taking in $500 a month and she was an alcoholic to try to deal with the stress of her job and raising 5 kids and everything, like, it's clear that my father was a net drain on the household, and he brings his kid in, which was another net drain on this household, and his kid looks, talks, and acts exactly like him. Somehow or another, I independently became exactly like my father, except in all the morality-based ways. My father never served a day in the military, neither did my mother and everything, which kind of puts into perspective the kind of shit that they have pulled and the kind of shit that they've said about me, right? It's like, where did you get any room to talk whatsoever? The answer is they didn't. Neither did they ever require it, right? Because narcissists, they'll just pull their own authority out of their ass, you know, they'll just make it up. It's like, oh, you're a piece of shit because, I don't know, the moon's in waning phase, you know. They'll just make something up if they can't fucking think of anything. That's why you're bad and I'm good. Because we're in a recession. Doesn't matter. They'll say anything. If you want to truly understand these people, then you're going to have to be crazy too. That's what I always say. That sucks. Those are 2 things that sucks. That's gonna be a real joy. You just completed a pleek armor. Come on, damn it. So in my eyes, as a kid, since my father was this net drain on the household, but she was married to him, and like freshly married to him as well, and then this other, you know, he drags a kid into the household to become an even bigger drain on the household. In my eyes, what she was mad at my father, and she was taking it out on me. That's my guess anyway. You never do know these things. It's not like they're gonna tell you why they were being an asshole. They just were, you know. And if you ask them, they'll make up a reason, right? Like, hey, why you were always such a dick to me? Oh, because you deserved it. Because the moon was in waxing phase or whatever. Because stories about werewolves exist. Because I've been disappointed with the Marvel franchise ever since the end of Infinity War. That's why. And that's why you deserve to be treated like shit, damn it. You know, they'll just make something up, you know. They're not good at introspection. They're not going to tell you why. Anyway, I didn't have fun. I did not have fun there. I spent a single semester in Point Siena High School. My second half of my freshman year of high school. My mom regained custody of me, and I was a hell of a lot, you know, I was a hell of a lot happier with her than I was with my father and that person that he married. That wasn't so good. She was not so nice to me. It's funny, she's so overprotective of her kids. And like I said, she does not consider me one of her kids. Anytime that I say anything about her, that was not ideal. Anytime anybody says anything about her or her kids, she freaks the fuck out. And then my father will call me and be like, hey, can you never say anything good or bad about her or any of her kids ever again? Because each time that you do, I have to argue with her. It's like, hey man, can you pay child support like once in your entire fucking miserable life? Because each time that I have to deal with my mother performing crimes, you know, it could have been prevented if she could afford mental health care, you know? It's like, the fuck are you doing? Trying to control the rest of planet Earth. Yeah, there you go. See? We're getting somewhere finally, again. Trying to control the rest of the people that occupy this planet instead of improve your relationship skills, you know? Apparently they've been to the marriage counselor, but I told them, like, they're both abusers. They need to go to abuse counseling. And there's two different types of abuse counseling. There really is abuse counseling for victims, which is what I went to, and abuse counseling for abusers. I said, like, you both need to go to abuse counseling for abusers. She apparently at some point in time threw some shit at my dad, which, by the way, that's assault. Did you know that if you spit on somebody, that's assault? People don't know that. But yeah, apparently she was throwing shit at my dad, and then my dad tried to stop her from leaving her room just by being in the doorway. And then somehow or another, in the scuffle of her trying to get past him to find more shit to throw at him, I guess, that whole scuffle left her with a bruise. So, after everything, my father called the cops because his wife was assaulting him, and he ended up spending the night in jail because she had a bruise, he didn't. So that was my father's adventure. It's like, I had to very carefully explain to him, like, listen, like, whenever it comes to that, you know, that means that your wife is abusive, that was abuse, and what you suffered was abuse, and that, according to the Center of Disease Control, according to the CDC, according to the CDC, that goes on to the Adverse Childhood Index, which it's kind of a misnomer because it applies both to childhood especially, but also to adulthood. And I said, you know, that ups your adverse childhood index score. According to the CDC, if you've been through abuse, you require abuse counseling. You require it. So if your dad has hauled off and socked you right in the motherfucking jaw, then you require abuse counseling. Now, you could stumble upon the answer, right? You could go around, you can look around at all the different things and all the different stuff or whatever, and you can stumble upon the answer. These are the correct set of circumstances that are going to allow you to get over this and to have the psychological damage mitigated for the time being, and then being able to move on with your life. That you could stumble upon that answer, maybe in a book, maybe in the way you interpret somebody's words or something like that. But since there's like infinite fucking things, the chances of you being able to get over it, the chances of you being able to find the answer is very low. So instead, just going to an abuse counselor, especially whenever you've got services like the Violence Prevention Center in Belleville, Illinois, which is fucking free. Whenever it's free, what the hell is your excuse at that point in time? So, I spent a lot of my life being a professional excuse eliminator, right? First, whenever I was like working out and nobody else was working out, and they were like, how are you working out? And then suddenly it was like, how are you, getting these results? I want to get those results. And I say, well, I'm working out, and they would give me excuses about why they couldn't work out. So I became this like professional excuse buster. And people would say like, I don't have any space, and I would show myself working out in, 1 square foot of space inside of a fucking barracks room somewhere on Earth. I don't have any equipment. I would show myself doing workouts with no equipment, stuff like that. I don't have any time. I'd show a workout that's 5 minutes long. So I don't have 5 minutes, just you. I start talking to them, and they say, they have to wait 5 minutes while their fucking coffee is cooking. And then I'm just like, okay, well, get this automatic coffee maker. They say that they can't. I point out all of the different credit card offers that they get in the mail. They said that they can't do that. And I said, yeah, you can. Yeah, there's always a point in time where the excuses actually do run out if you follow them all the way from soup to nuts, from the beginning to the end. They will run out of excuses. So I've been a professional excuse eliminator my entire life. And normally it just ends the conversation, because the fact of the matter is that they're not thinking of that. They're not thinking of, they're thinking of themselves. And that's not the way that you get anything done. I can't fucking put my finger on it, but there was some sort of philosophical gobbledygook that was going on YouTube, where they were talking about all the sort of scientific ramifications and the like, all surrounding the fact that whenever people do things for others, then they gain a lot of strength, a lot of power. They're able to do shit, And we see this with stuff like, of the people in the world, of every single occupation, the occupation that carries the highest job satisfaction, the happiest workers are volunteers. Those are the occupations that contain the happiest workers. If you want to be happy in your life, simply volunteer. You could be like that one episode of House MD, right? You could, with that preacher, that priest that was working in the basement, like, he doesn't make any actual money. He just does the preacher-priest thing, the minister thing, And in exchange, he gets to live in the church basement. And he gets, you know, room and board, but that's it. It's like, you know, he's a volunteer. It's like you can, there's plenty of positions that do precisely that. There's a whole set of people that do something similar called woofers. I think it's like WWOFER. It's like worldwide something, and some sort of opportunities for volunteering or something, I don't know.
If you need a support rod, call it in from the outdoor.
Hell yeah. Really fuck up those porter potties.
Warning.
They glow on my night vision. I don't like it whenever things glow on my night vision. It obscures anything that's behind it, whatever it is. I've got an idea. Spice things up just a little bit. Shake things up just a smidge. I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't know if anything about it's gonna work. There's just not too many ways to do this. You know what? There is. Totally forgot about it. There is a way to do this. But this will help. I've got plans. I've got plans. They're all in my brain. I've got plans. One of the next editions. And it's C2W, so the same mission that we've been running over and over and again. It's C2W, however, with a twist. The twist is subsistence. What is subsistence? It means that we don't have any equipment, right? Are you picking up what I'm dropping? I don't know how to get in this cage. Thought there was a door on the ground level, but apparently there is not. Okay. Oh, there is. Alright. Just gotta find it first. Neat. I forget where the hell this damn thing is. So C2W starts out whenever you don't try to take the whole thing by storm. It starts out far away from the Eastern Communications Outpost, right? So that's C2W, that's how the whole thing works, that's how the whole thing runs, right? There's a tape around here on the ground somewhere. Oh boy. These are all the birds that I've rescued. Apparently, since we really haven't rescued that many birds. There's a tape somewhere around here. The vultures. Maybe it's on one of the catwalks? Yeah, it is. See it? Whenever you use these tapes and you turn the speaker function on to the iDroid, you can fool people into thinking that they are hearing one of these animals. So if somebody's like soft spotted you because you're kind of crawling around the outskirts of an outpost or some shit like that, one of the things that you can do is you can play this animal tape with the speaker function on, and they will think that they didn't actually see anybody. They must have just spotted an animal because that's what they're hearing. Well, they'll be like, oh, okay, I just heard an animal, no problem. And they'll wander off. They'll like, oh, okay. They'll fuck off. Got some donkeys. Man, they are as calm as Hindu cows. Look at that. They've gotten used to this place. There's this. But without any equipment, you gotta take any advantage that you can get, right? So I'm gathering these real quick. I think these can be used over and over again. These tapes, but there's tapes that are single use only. There's the Afghan lullaby, and I think that there's the Africa lullaby, and both of them do what they say. Anybody who's within a certain distance, as long as you're using the speaker function, anybody who's in a certain distance away from you will fall asleep hearing one or the other. They only work in their respective regions, so of course, you know, African lullaby only works in Africa. Afghan lullaby only works in Afghanistan. Everything makes sense, right? There's also enemy eliminated. It's a recording of a soldier saying enemy eliminated. Just like the other one, there's an Afghan version of that, and there's a Africa version of that. And that will allow you, as long as you are hidden from sight, and they're like looking for you, like they've spotted you, you know, they've actually spotted you. As long as you're hidden from sight, if you play that out loud and they can't directly see you, then they will assume then that is a soldier yelling that the enemy has been eliminated. So they get the fuck off and go home, right? And those are all single-use tapes. There's also a third tape that does something else. And there's one in each, you know what I mean. One in Africa, one in Afghanistan. And it does something else. It makes your pee smell like an asparagus. Whatever the hell it does. Whoa, whoa. 2 tapes for 1 platform? What did I do to deserve this? Such abundance. So these tapes just might come in handy. If I even, like, that's the other thing, is that, you get so many tools in the toolbox whenever you're playing these games that you'll often forget about most of them. And you'll never use them. Like I mentioned during my real earlier in my way earlier broadcast whenever I was playing Ground Zeroes, I mentioned this one particular YouTuber that likes to do all of the missions of Mgsv, the Phantom Pain in particular, with like no kills, no guns, everybody at high alerts, as hard as humanly possible, you know, with Snake dressed in a bikini with his wiener sticking out, you know, all this other kind of stuff. That's the maximum amount of difficulty and the minimal amount of equipment, essentially. And it was him that, I think it was him, that showed me the utility of the parasite suit combined with the mist, the Skull's mist unit. The mist parasites, like I said, it's like a mobile sandstorm that blinds and deafens the enemies, but it doesn't automatically kill your S rank for any particular mission. So I think he was the one that cracked the code for me, and I was just like, holy shit, that's what Mist does? And like I said, it was like after well over 1,000 hours in this game. So you got so many tools in the toolbox that you'll often forget about them. But the whole thing with Subsistence C2W is that I didn't know how I could stop the truck. You know, the truck, whenever you get dropped off in that certain spot, whenever you're not attacking the C2W base directly, you get dropped over in that certain spot next to that damn guard post, and that guard with the truck starts heading towards you. It's like that's the first thing that happens in C2W. Guard and truck heading your way. So that's that. So I was like, how the fuck am I going to stop that truck whenever I have literally no equipment whatsoever? Like, I gotta stop that truck because one of the fucking side mission tasks is to head to the other village and rescue those two dudes, those two prisoners. It's like, how the fuck am I going to do all that? It's like, yes, I could just hoof it from between A and Z here and see if we can't get something going. But, man, that's fucking boring, especially whenever you're here to watch. Like, alone, I can zone out. I can fucking watch a YouTube video or some shit like that, but this is your YouTube video, so I gotta, like, think about you, right? So I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Then the answer finally came to me. How to stop that truck. It was rather simple. Wait. That's all. Just wait. Because at the beginning of the mission, you still get dropped off in a helicopter. So that's that. You get dropped off in a helicopter, so just wait. Eventually, the guy will stop the truck. He'll get out, he'll start firing at the helicopter, and while he's firing at the helicopter, I'll run up to him and stick my thumb in his ass. That's the way that it's gonna go, you know? That's the way that we can do it. This toast, toast, toast. It's simple, Luigi. Oh, sorry, I was drinking water if you were wondering what that weird noise was. I'm also completely nude and covered in peanut butter. You can't see me. You can't tell me that I'm not. You can, but you don't know if you're right. Not with 100% certainty.
Boss, you need to disable the Soviets'
I could like the,
reinforcement system
you know,
by putting a hole in their base-to-base
the feeling
comms
of being
network.
covered in peanut butter.
Head for the Eastern Communications Post and
Maybe I
destroy its
want to
comms
be
equipment.
covered in ants at all points. You don't know. You don't know. Statistically speaking, if enough people see this particular broadcast, somebody's gonna think that that's hot.
That's the second
Somebody's
one.
gonna be like, oh shit, covered in peanut butter? That's hot. And ants? That's hot.
Good work. Completed your objective. Now get out of the hot zone.
Enough people watch this. That will happen. Thankfully, enough people won't watch this. I'll never get viewers. Nobody will ever give a shit about me. And, nobody will come to my funeral whenever I die.
Anything in the area? Take a look
It'll
around.
be fairly good.
If you need a supply drop, call it in from your
And I will fade from human memory. I can't get my fucking Roku remote to charge, boys. What the fuck is wrong with this thing? The charger is fully plugged in. Instead I have to rely on this other Roku remote
That right there is
that runs on AAA's, and it's just really ornery. Now I'm getting fucking A+ volunteers. They're starting to really like us. Charger's plugged into the thingamajig. Everything else is working. I don't know what breakdown in communication's happening here. I know that the remote has to be in a certain special position, but each time that I plug it in, it doesn't show up on the screen. Maybe it's not even paired. Maybe it got unpaired somehow. So many possibilities. So I got stuck in a loop today. I was plugged in down there at the Plasma Donation Center, and I was trying to do my remaining tasks that I have to do for the veteran disability people, the newest veteran disability people, VA insiders. They got a list of shit for me to do, and so I've been doing all the shit.
to disable the Soviets'
Each and every
reinforcement
fucking
system
step of the
by putting a
process
hole in their
involves
base-to-base comms
another
network.
government website, each which has their own requirements and their own fucking things that you gotta do, and each and every one of them is their own fucking pain in the ass. So every single step is a gigantic leap for the fucking mankind. Half of the time the videos and instructions are out of date, and they don't even successfully instruct you to do whatever the fuck they're telling you to do. And you see people confused down in the comments that are somehow even more technologically illiterate than I am, so
Keep going.
whenever I'm already having a gay old time trying to figure this shit out,
Now get out of the hot zone.
like other people are having like an even more fucking great time trying to figure this shit out.
You've run out of explosives. See anything in the area? Take a look. Call it in from your eye door.
I want that decoy. Hell yeah. I'll fuck up those porta potties one of these days. So I finally get to this part, and it's like it's essential. It's the DD-214, baby. You know, the your fucking proof that you were in the military in the first place. The DD-214. But the DD214 needs to be downloaded from this other fucking esoteric website. So you click on this other fucking esoteric website that takes you to this other thing that wants you to sign in through this other archaic method with a completely different username and password and fucking thumbprint protection and mail-in slot for them to look at your fucking DNA and all this kind of shit. Hours of operation from hither to thither. By the way, every single one of these websites that are ran by the government, 100%. There's like a 50-50 chance that any of these websites that you have to go through are under maintenance. 50-50 chance. Bare minimum. Probably higher. So at any point in time, there could be something going maintenance, and it might be a master site which has which is undergoing maintenance, and so each subordinate site to that one master site will not function, and it won't tell you why. And you'll have to like look at the other websites, these other government websites, in order to figure out what the fuck is going on. It's a nightmare. It's a complete fucking nightmare. And there's people who are like 90 fucking years old that are trying to use these systems. So I know that if it's a pain in the ass to me, it's got to be fucking impossible to them. And this is how we treat our veterans. Yeah. So, blah, 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 veterans are mistreated, blah, blah, blah. Story as old as fucking time. So, the D214, apparently it is now being held prisoner on this other fucking website. And you've got to do, like, you've got to go on this website, you've got to, click these special, buttons. If you don't click the right buttons, then, of course, like, the whole fucking, whatever device that you're using to access this information will fucking self-destruct.
See anything in the area? Take a look around. See the supply drop, call it in from your iDroid.
Hell yeah. Told you I was gonna get you one of these days, and look at you now. So, trying to access the website. And it tells me that it needs a two-factor authentication check. But unlike all of the rest of the websites that has the proper information, it doesn't have the proper information. So it tells me to go to this entirely separate website that I've never heard of in my entire life. So I go to it, or I just Google it, and then the first link I click on has nothing to do with it. So I have to go back out and try to find a .gov link. And then I click on this .gov link. So I click on the .gov link. It takes me to something else. And so I'm looking at this other fucking thing now. And it's like, okay, well, you've got like 59 options. And I just want the thing that it told me to go to you, and now you're giving me a whole bunch of more options. And I look through the options and I say, okay, that looks like the thing that it wants me to go to. So I click on it. And in the meantime, by the way, the VA Insider's website, they just send you to that one link. They're just like, oh yeah, just go to this link, log in, and fucking download it. You'll fucking figure it out. So this one doesn't have a damn video associated with it. There's no like step-by-step walkthrough at any point in time. No one to hold my hand. So I'm just sitting here blind, one-handed, getting my blood pumped out of my body via an intravenous needle so I can bleed for money. So then after everything else is fucking said and done, I click on the thing, it fucking sends me, back to this website, and it tells me to log in, and it's the exact same login as the other website that told me to go here in the fucking first place. So I got stuck in this little fucking loop. There's this fucking catch-22 fucking bullshit situation, and there was nothing I could do about it. So it said, you can either try to log into this website, fucking good luck. It doesn't say good luck, but it might as well. You can either log into this website, or you can fucking call this number. something very important. Whenever you're plugged in at the blood plasma donation center, you cannot be on the phone. Not at CSL. Not at the CSL in New Holes Ferry in St. Louis, Missouri. At the very least.
If you need a supply drop, call it in from your own boy.
Who the fuck sees me and how? He thought it was an empty helicopter that was shooting at him. Once he saw that there was a person in it now things are serious. He just thought the helicopter itself was shooting at him. At that point in time, you know, you only get on like half alert. You get like a half chub, you know. It's not super serious. You're not ready for action yet. But you're getting there. So, since I couldn't call the number, then I just had to give up and call later. And I just figured that I'm going to try tomorrow during business hours. Sometimes, whenever it deals with like military shit, then a lot of times it'll be a 24-hour hotline, right? Because U.S. military personnel are stationed all over the planet. They all have different time zones and stuff like that. So they'll just have a 24-hour hotline, and that'll take care of business. But for veteran stuff, it's usually, you know, a business hours operation. They work from 9 to 9:02 every third Saturday of the month. You know, it has to be something like that. So I'll try tomorrow. Probably talk to a robot, and the robot will tell me that, you know, you got to call in between 9 and 9:02 Eastern Pacific time in the mountain region using a hamburger phone on the third Saturday of the 13th month of the year.
That's the second one. That wasn't the last
Right in the middle of Smarch. Everything's so fucking convenient.
You completed your objective. Now get out of the hot zone. You've run out of explosives. See anything in the area? Take a look around. If you need a supply drop, call it in from your iDroid.
Damn it. That dummy got away from me. What a loss for mankind.
Mission complete.
I've also been trying to figure out a couple things in my head on the way home. So, like, normally whenever you are building a home, building a structure, any way, shape, form, or capacity, here, this far north, you're probably going to have something or the other that is going to, you know, take care of take the chill out of the winter, right? So your average person will have a thing, and then they'll build they'll put in the chimney, or they'll put in the fire device, the fire box, whatever the hell they're using. They'll put in like the wood stove or whatever, and then they'll install the chimney, and they'll just poke a hole in their house. It'll be that simple and easy You know, it's whatever. But the thing is, whenever they do that, they're usually using your standard rigid foam insulation or even fiberglass bats. So fiberglass bats, you've probably seen them before, maybe in a television show or something like that. The fiberglass bats are the big fucking pink things. You know, they're the succulent house meat that people go in to harvest in old homes. So it's this big fluffy pink thing that's like rolled up in a in like a tube, like a Swiss roll.
Good. That's the first one.
Or like a bed roll, like a fucking sleeping bag.
That wasn't the last of them, though.
Whenever it's all rolled up. And then you stretch it out, and you nail it to the wall, and you're fucking done. Boom, insulation.
Completed your objective. Now get out of the hot zone.
Ooh. Ooh. Got him. Took care of their wacky, wavy, inflatable arm tube man. So, they're either using rigid foam insulation, so big, wide sheets of styrofoam, essentially, that's usually foil-faced, so it'll have some aluminum foil glued to one side of it, right? So it doubles up as a radiant barrier, so that it reflects the heat back into the house, and as a regular insulation. And you know what insulation does? You know, like you take a thermos and like I have one of those expensive thermoses that promises to keep whatever is inside of it warm or cold for like. I think it's warm for like 8 hours or cold for like 12 hours or something stupid. Vice versa. I don't know. So that's what your insulation does. Now, thermoses usually do this with air, and air is a great insulator. And whenever people say air is a great insulator, what they mean is air that isn't moving. That much is very important. So you'll hear people say, like, air is a great insulator. And you might take that statement at face value and decide that, okay, air is a great insulator, therefore... Didn't this guy just get a medal? I think he did. Switch out for another. We'll raise the collective skills of everybody on Mother Base. With enough time, we can do it together. So, you'll hear people say air is a great insulator, and then you'll like look up, you know, insulation on Home Depot's website or Lowe's or wherever you're shopping, and you'll be like, holy fuck, why is this so fucking expensive? And you're like, isn't it just air? You know, just like, let's just grab some air, you know, and then insulate our house with it. But that only applies to air that isn't moving. If the air within your house is not moving, then you have a problem. And you would know exactly what this problem is if you've ever seen a person that even temporarily has a plastic bag on their head. It is, it's not good. So air that is not moving is a wonderful insulator. But considering that we need oxygen in order to survive and live and can remain alive and everything, then you have to do other things that will trap small pockets of air, like styrofoam or even vacuum insulated panels. They have a pocket of air within them that isn't moving. So vacuum insulated panels are indeed the ones that have the most insulative value, because in between the layers of it is a vacuum, like the vacuum of space. There's nothing at all in between the layers. However, they're also the most expensive, and they're fucking impossible to find. I've never seen one in real life. I've never even seen like a picture of one online. They might not even be real. It might be a theoretical thing. It's just like scientists swear up and down that they could have them. I don't know. No idea. So anyway, it's pretty hard to take a structure that you're going to live in, and as long as you don't like wrap it with a bunch of plastic wrap and everything and turn it into a giant plastic bag to try to suffocate yourself, it's pretty hard to insulate too much. You know, it's pretty hard to do that. It's pretty hard to suffocate yourself in your home. But insulation is expensive. It is. It's expensive. So I'm circumventing that. Instead of doing the foil-faced styrofoam board, this foil-faced polystyrene sheets, not going to do that because that's too expensive. Instead of doing the fiberglass bats, that's also too expensive. All things are too expensive. The only way that I make any amount of money is by bleeding for cash. That's all I do. It's like a couple $100 a month, mostly going to gas, so I can go bleed for cash. You know, it's not good. So, one way to make your own insulation .
That wasn't the last of them, though. Keep going. Good work. You've completed your objective. Now get out of the hot zone.
Well, I really wanted to take out that spotlight, but at least I took out their power. Now they can't see for shit. That ought to affect their aim a little bit.
Mission complete.
So one way of making your own insulation, there's a type of loose fill insulation that's simply made out of cellulose. And cellulose is just, it's basically cardboard. It's paper that's been chewed up in a very special way to make it nice and fluffy and trap lots of air, right? And that's what cellulose insulation is. And it often comes in loose fill. So loose fill, the fiberglass bats, you unroll it and kind of like staple it to the wall or whatever, right? Or you could just like put it in the cavity in between two boards and then put like some drywall over it or something to hold it into place. Whatever you want to do with it, it's fine. But it's rather easy, right?
Boss, you need to disable the Soviets' reinforcement system by putting a hole in their base-to-base comms network.
For
communications post and destroy its comms equipment. First, use the binoculars
the foil-face styrofoam sheets, polystyrene sheets as insulation. For that insulation, what you would do instead is you would just put it up against the wall and you'd nail it to the wall. 2 steps.
Good. That's the first one.
Nail it to the wall, screw it to the wall, whatever the hell. You want just like put it on the wall. And then that's that. Put it on the wall, put it on the ceiling, put it all over the place, and it's going to insulate the building a little bit better. If you want your house to be cold, it will keep your house more cold. If you want your house to be warm, it will keep your house more warm for more longer. Damn dummy! Damn it. And the fucking porta potties are back in shape. What a bad day. This is not a fine day for science. That's a quote from Dexter's Laboratory, a really old cartoon. One way of making your own insulation is to take just cardboard and paper and whatever, run it through a hammer mill, which is a type of mill which is basically a shitload of hammers. It's like the inside of a piano, you know, but like with more gears, I guess. I don't know. I've never laid eyes on a hammer mill before. But you can do that. Just take a ton of paper or cardboard, whatever you got, chew it up through a hammer mill, throw it on a bag, put a little bit of borax in there, and something else. There's like 2 or 3 chemicals that you throw in there and kind of shake up the bag, and then you've got cellulose insulation. It's like the real shit. That's like exactly what you'll buy at the store. It'll come in like from like a company like Green Fiber or something like that. That's basically it. Now, another way that you can create your own insulation is just chew up some styrofoam. If you ain't got a hammer mill lying around, then that's one way to do it real quick and easy. Now, there's an old man on YouTube that has a table saw, and he puts up dado blades in the table saw. So he puts dado blades in his table saw, and he runs cardboard through it, and then he makes cellulose insulation that way. But, you gotta do all that stuff to it that I just mentioned, right? So you've got to put like borax in it, you got to put all this other kind of horse shit in there. Took out the mortar. And a dummy. Nope, I didn't do the dummy. Damn it. I did take out a mine earlier though. We're getting somewhere. We got stuff going on in our lives. So this old man puts dado blades on the table saw. He runs some damn cardboard through it, and that chews it up just right and makes part 1 of your average cellulose insulation. Problem with that is, like all cardboard, if it gets wet, then it's a done deal. All the things that it's supposed to do is now over. It's wet cardboard. It's no good. So, wet cardboard, not good. So what do? First you have to waterproof it. Then you have to give it some mold resistance. So it not only has to be waterproof, it also has to have some mold resistance. So, like, if you put if you take some saran wrap, some plastic wrap, and then put it around some cardboard, then it's water resistant, right? It's much less likely to get exposed to water, and so everything's going to be all right. No, just leave that motherfucker outside, and what you're going to see is just like every time that you put food in a Tupperware and you put it in the fridge, it's going to start to form some condensation on the inside of the Tupperware because there's a temperature difference, and it's going to condensate. That's what it does. So, with that in mind, that is precisely what is going to occur.
Nice. That's the second one. That wasn't the last
And whenever it condensates, you're going to have a problem because the cardboard's going to get wet, and it's going to do all the things that cardboard does whenever it gets wet. It's not going to be a good time. You're going to have a bad time. Stop having a functional spotlight. I don't like it. So, in order to waterproof it, that's one step. In order to make it mold resistant, that's another step. In order to make it bug resistant, that's a third step. And all of these steps need to be solved chemically. But you know what doesn't happen to styrofoam? Styrofoam doesn't mold, not very easily. It also just happens to be water resistant, maybe even waterproof. You know, it also happens with styrofoam. Bugs don't like it. You know, it's all three of these things. So the other way of making your own insulation is to take regular ass styrofoam and chew it up into the smallest pieces that you can, and then just put it somewhere. So, like, let's say, let's go back to the example of the fiberglass bats. So you've got frames in your house. The before the house, there's a frame. And before the frame, there's probably a concrete slab, but whatever. So the frame of a house is very simple. It's just at least, or usually about 6 vertical 2x4s. Not facing fat part outwards, but they're like lined up like bars in a jail cell, right? So 6 of them vertically, and one, and they're all going to be screwed in to one that's horizontal on the ground, and they're also going to be screwed into one horizontal up in the air, you know, and that is a frame. That's a stick frame. In your traditional American stick frame house. Just about 6 2x4s.
Nice. That's the second one. It wasn't the last one, though. Keep going. You've completed your objective. Now get out of the hot zone.
Oh. Got that spotlight finally. I gotta get this. Gotta get this crew serve weapon over here without getting the guy that's standing beside of it. It's like whenever Arnold Schwarzenegger had the minigun in Terminator 2 and he shoots a bunch of stuff but he kills 0 people. That's what I'm trying to pull off here.
Amazing. Mission complete.
So, for a 64 square foot home, you'll have these things 16-inch on center, and you'll have 6 of them to make a cube for you to live in. So what do? On the outside of it, you put plywood, and on the inside of it, you put drywall. That's your cheapest options, right? So what does that what does that make? That makes a 4-inch cavity in between the inside drywall and the outside plywood. So the inside drywall and the outside plywood has the space in the middle that's full of air, but drywall is breathable, and plywood's not that resistant to the weather and everything. And there's gaps in between each sheet of plywood or whatever, the OSB that you put on the outside, oriented strand board. So, for insulation, you'll probably fill this 4-inch cavity with something. So what are you going to do? You're going to take 10,000, cans of spray foam and spray them in there? No, that'll be extraordinarily expensive. In between those gaps, in between the frame and the wood, you're probably going to put some like fiberglass and insulated bats in there, right? Or you might just staple a bunch of foil-faced styrofoam, polystyrene, insulative sheets, panels, right? And you'll just stick those in between the 2x4s consisting the frame of your home. And that's how you'll insulate it. One or the other. Styrofoam, foil-faced, insulated panels, or hell yeah, we got them. We got them, boys. But they've got their electricity back. And now it's gone. This is scary. Let's throw some of these. These guys are getting on my nerves. Hurting me, which is rude. So you can do the fiberglass bats, you can do the foil-faced polystyrene insulative sheets in between the 2x4s and your frame, whatever you want to do. Or, if you're going to try to DIY, then you're going to take your cellulose insulation that you got from, putting dado blades on a table saw, and then running all of your cardboard through the through the table saw with the dado blades on it. So you're going to do all of that mess. Then you're going to put it in a garbage bag, and then you're going to put some borax in there for the mold resistance, and something else in there for the water resistance. I think borax does both, but I could be wrong. And I do know that it is the bug resistant thing. Bugs don't like borax. So you're going to do all that, and you're going to shake it up and everything, and after that, then you're going to have something that approximates traditional cellulose insulation that you might buy at the local home improvement store, much like, green fiber at Home Depot. And that'll be your cellulose insulation. Or you could just take styrofoam, which is already mold resistant, already water resistant, already bug resistant, and then you can just chew it up in little pieces and pour it into those cavities. So how do you keep it inside the cavities? Well, if you're going to do it in a traditional way, then you would probably install drywall almost up to the ceiling. Almost up to the ceiling. Then you'll pour as much of that chewed up styrofoam as possible.
Nice. That's the second one. It wasn't the last of them, though. Good work. You've completed your objective. Now get out of the hot zone.
Cat's over here being sweet. He's over here being sweet. What you doing, kitty cat? Why are you being sweet right now, huh? Your dad talking to no one in particular. Gonna come over and investigate. Huh, Kiki? I haven't been able to find a single tick on you in so long. Your medicine working, huh? I bought it from Wally World. There's this goop I put on the back of his neck so that he can't lick it off or whatever, and then it like slowly dries over the course of fucking days. So the way that I'm going to do it, it all depends on what I have. I managed to put some tin on the cabin yesterday on the south-facing wall, or on the south-facing wall close to the roof. If not on the roof, then at least close to the roof. And I managed to do that yesterday. And so, like, now it's all over everywhere. The entire roof is covered in tin sheets, corrugated tin sheets. And there's some gaps in there, close to the edges. And I'm going to get up there. I've got some roof cement, and so I'm going to smear some of that bullshit up there. There's already like a ton of that bullshit up there, but you know, it didn't go all the way to the edge, and I was concerned, so I put more. Took it all the way to the edge, and then I needed more roof cement for the gaps in between them. So I'm going to put some of that roof cement up there. And it's going to continue to look like absolute fucking garbage, but it's my first ever cabin, and if you've got any critiques, then where's your cabin, fucker?
Nice. That's the second one. It wasn't the last of them, though. Keep going.
My first ever cabin was never going to win any beauty contest. I knew that from the start.
Now get out of the hot zone.
Looks like I got everything.
Run out of explosives. See anything in the area?
So I got some tin sheets on the south-facing wall, close to the roof. And tomorrow, if I can get another 1 or 2 tin sheets up there, then all of it's going to be covered. The entire south-facing wall is going to be covered from the outside, hook, line, and sinker. I'll probably need to install a footboard. The south wall of the cabin is completely, the entire south wall of the cabin is completely covered in polycarbonate sheets, corrugated polycarbonate sheets called, from a company called Tuftex. It's something that Derek Dietrichson recommends. He's the founder and whatever of RelaxShacks.com. He's got a lot of good ideas. I thought that maybe he was sponsored by Tough Techs because he babbled about it so often, and so I looked around for different prices, and no, Tough Techs really is the cheapest shit out there. So, and it's very good shit, you know. It's gonna hold up better than fucking glass, and it's gonna be a hell of a lot less expensive, you know. The whole thing is gonna be good. So the entire south-facing wall of the cabin, floor to ceiling, is covered in these polycarbonate Tough Techs plastic sheetings, plastic panels. Corrugated-facing wall of the cabin. Do you know how much natural light that's going to let in? It's going to be beautiful. I can't wait for it to be finished. You won't even fucking believe it, man. It'll blow your fucking mind. One wall that's entirely glass, essentially. It's going to be glorious. Just you wait. But if I can get some tin sheets tomorrow, I'm going to have to cover up the top. But something weird happened towards the bottom. Towards the bottom of each panel, something weird happened. And, like, it didn't get covered all the way to the bottom. It was strange. I need to switch out my guy. This guy's too skilled already. Switch out to somebody who's unskilled. Get him skilled. So, yeah, somewhere down towards the bottom of the polycarbonate Tough Techs panels, they didn't get secured all the way. There's a lot of empty space and everything. They're not fucking like, they're not all the way up against the damn wood, and that's the problem. Now, I bought the foam strips that comes with them so that there's no air leakage. I've seen people just go with the panels themselves. They're wild. I love them, but it's probably not the best idea. Either way, it is the way that it is. I'm acting like this is a real mission. I need to... Target range.
Nice. That's the second one. It wasn't the last of them, though. Keep going.
There we go.
Approaching enemy alpha. Good work. You've completed your objective. Now get out of the hot zone.
Got your mortar. But he's got a, So, I'm probably going to have to install like a footboard on the inside. The entire cabin is made out of, the frame of the cabin is entirely 100% made out of pallets. Just pallets that I put on their side. That's all. Took a pallet, you know, stood it up on its side. That's it. They kind of look like, you know, they kind of look like a traditional flamed house. I thought it was a half-decent idea. It's not. But, but I thought it was. Switch this guy out for this guy. Look, it comes with a fresh new suit. So, So it just didn't get it didn't get secured all the way to the bottom. So I'm probably gonna have to install in those gaps and in these pallets. Probably gonna have to install a footboard to put the stuff. You know, put the damn foam strips all the way up against the wood, so that I'm not getting a ton of air coming up under these damn polycarbonate panels and fucking sapping all the energy and shit out of the house, you know? The heat, the cold, anything. Gotta keep that shit in the house, you know? The cabin. Cabin I'm building.
Good. That's the first one. Nice. That's the second one. That wasn't the last of them, though. Keep going. Closing enemy outpost. Good work. You completed your objective. Now get out of the hot zone.
Gotta take out this standing gun. Oh, and nice one. Couldn't get that one. Now I gotta take out his fucking spotlight again. What a pain.
Take a look around. If you need a supply drop, call it in from your iDroid.
Wow, we're receiving no hits on the way out. I guess those smoke bombs really did help. Damn. Learn something new every day.
Amazing mission.
So besides that footboard, if I can get some 10 sheets up tomorrow, then the south-facing wall is going to be complete, and everything close to the roof is complete. Is going to be complete, especially once I smear some roof cement up there. Then everything is truly, fucking surely going to be complete with the roof. Finally, it's going to be over with. But then I have to cover. I've got half of the west. I've got half of the east wall covered, and I need to cover the other half. And I don't know if I have enough 10 sheets to do that, but I'm going to try. And if I don't have enough 10 sheets to do that, then I'm going to have to start filling in with boards. And I've got a healthy supply of boards, I do. But I started using the 10 sheets in the first place because I was afraid I was going to run out of boards. So that's the whole problem here. Damn boards. Not enough of them. And there's a bunch of there's a bunch of 10 sheets out in like the forest. There's woods on the side of the property that I'm staying at. It's not even really woods, they're more like sticks, you know. Couldn't get it in time. But hopefully I'll get their power. Yeah, I did. I really lay into the spotlight. Can I get it? Apparently no, not really. Damn. We tried our best. So, there's lots of these tin sheets that are like out in the forest. We got some sticks. You know, there's like, if you're looking head on at the mobile home that I'm currently staying in, then on the south side, you're going to find what looks like woods. Towards the east, there's going to be like a lake eventually after you like go down this hill. Like a pond. But behind it, or to the west, is almost immediately the fence to the neighbor's property, which is usually occupied by cows. So, almost directly out of the western window, there's a little space for a little backyard that's been taken over by wasps. And then almost immediately afterwards, there's the neighbor's fence with all the cows. And then on the north side, of course, you've got the driveway and everything leading out and around the neighbor's property. Actually, according to my grandfather, my step-grandfather, I guess, a lot of the driveway is actually on the neighbor's property, and he's offering easement because the neighbor happens to be my step-grandfather's brother.
First, use the binoculars to locate the communications equipment at the facility.
So he's simply allowing him to have a access to his property out here. But the first people that lived out yonder was my mother's full-blooded sister, my oldest aunt. She was like the first person to live out here. But then eventually, my middle aunts started living out here. And then eventually, it was finally my uncle. My uncle and his wife eventually moved out here. And she was a real piece of work, but they got divorced and then she died of an overdose. Not like the same day, it was like years afterwards. I think he remarried before she died of an overdose. So, God rest her soul and whatever.
Amazing. Mission complete.
Only guy can judge, blah, blah, blah. So, she didn't die in this mobile home that I'm staying at. It wasn't hers to begin with. It was always on my step-grandfather's land, I guess. I just call him my grandfather. It's been here my whole life, you know, it's whatever. It's my grandfather on my mother's side. It's my step-grandfather on my mother's side, I guess. To make everything completely transparent. Clarify. Anyway, with my the starter being my oldest aunt living out here. With my oldest aunt living out here, she had a trailer, she had a mobile home, and whenever she got a new one, she moved away and then she came back with a new one. And with the new one, she needed to clear out the space for the new one, and the old one was sitting there. So my grandfather came out here with his bulldozer and bulldozed down the old one to make room for the new one. So there's still all of these like tattered pieces of the old the old mobile home that was here is took care of your mortar, you bastards. Woohoo! We got the spotlight. Now we're cooking with gas. Hell yeah. So there's all these like bits and pieces of the old mobile home that's out to the west. In like this overgrown foresty type area. By the way, my grandfather does have a 100%, he owns 100% of the land in between the farmhouse, the farm proper, and the land that I'm currently staying at. He can trace a straight line, owning 100% of everything in between hither and thither, the way the crow flies, and he can even stay on his property in between the farm and here. But doing so requires an all-terrain vehicle of some type. He either needs a four-wheeler or a Kubota, or, you know, dirt bike or something. He can't hoof it at his age, but it is a possibility. Or one of his pieces of more construction type equipment can make it sometimes. So really, the deal between him and his brother to install a driveway for easement, that was really for his, you know, second adopted daughter, my oldest aunt.
You need to disable the Soviets' reinforcement system.
Well, before then, I think that there was still a driveway here, which was an agreement with somebody else that used to be. They used to own this land, or at least part of this land. It's complicated. Either way. So everybody's just like, oh, if I get land, it doesn't matter where it is, because I'm guaranteed easement. It's like, yeah, you're guaranteed easement by all-terrain vehicle. Like, my grandfather owns this one field, this one farm field, that is, it's on the other side of the road. They regrew their damn mortar over there. Gotta check out their mortar by the spotlight. It gives me something to aim at. A little bit of a challenge. So, to the west of me, there's these bits and pieces of the old-fashioned trailer, but most of it has been rusted to pieces, and, you know, it's been like at least 30 years since my oldest aunt lived on this land in her old trailer, or her old mobile home. So then she brought in the brand new mobile home, and my grandfather, step-grandfather, I guess, pushed all of the old mobile home out into the this heavily forested area to the west. And so there's like bits and pieces out there. Most of it's rusted into absolutely nothing. But with this brand spanking new mobile home here, it was all fine and dandy. But she, her boyfriend, actually her husband, I think they did get married because she took his last name. And she's never really gotten rid of it. But he was a real piece of work. He's the guy that ended up moving, and I talked about him in previous broadcasts. He's the guy that moved to France and became a fucking mechanic in France, got a manual labor job, and then gradually over time finally picked up the French language. And he did all of that entirely just to not pay child support for his 2 daughters. The guy's a great dude in general. But back then, his major mistake was... to... he was in debt. He was in debt a lot. And so he didn't pay the whatevers on his whatever, and my oldest aunt's brand new mobile home got repossessed. It got full-on repossessed. So it was gone. So then this mobile home that I'm currently staying in, this mobile home, that I am currently staying in, this one, it's my uncle's mobile home. He purchased it, and there was nothing sitting on the frame, the thing that's holding up the mobile home. You know, there was nothing sitting there because my oldest aunt had her mobile home repossessed because she was married to a real piece of work. So that was that, you know. And so whenever my uncle moved in with his wife, they wanted a brand new mobile home, so they went and they got one, and that's the one that I'm in right now. But after the divorce and everything, this thing sat abandoned for 15 years. I'll tell you one thing, more than anything else, the damn raccoons did a number on this place. This is the rain cutscene. I didn't think that we're going to see the rain cutscene. I didn't know that it was raining.
It's raining.
Super Bunny Hop said about Quiet's inclusion within this game. He used the words, Stephanie Jewston will often nearly make butthole to camera contact. He used those words. Those precise exact words. Remember, this Stephanie Jewston is a model. So you don't have to play this game to look at her. She's got a very advanced portfolio. And that's also, I think that's her actual voice singing. So, not a bad singer either. And she did sing, she sang her theme live at the Video Game Awards or whatever in like 2015, 2016. Only have us with 100% bond level. Call it fan service, call it whatever you want. It's a really bittersweet scene. It really, really is. It's the only time that you will ever hear Venom Snake laugh, smile, look genuinely happy for a half a fucking second of his miserable life.
Arriving shortly at LZ. This is P1. On station at LZ.
Even in pause, you know, had in her diaries that that there's so little fun to be had on Mother Base. See, it's not just a commentary. This game isn't just a commentary about the video game world and all this other kind of stuff, but it's also this sort of other meta commentary about the war and the video game world and stuff like that. I mean, the whole game began with this thing, you know, saying like, hey, this is outer heaven, and it's just another day in a war without end. This is the eternal fucking bullshit that we're gonna have forever. And if you desire this, then you're insane. You know, if you want to do the outer heaven thing and start a militia or whatever else, then you're absolutely fucking out of your mind. There's a lot of people that want to be Solid Snake. There's a lot of people that want to be the stars of these games and everything, but they continually like ignore, forget, or otherwise decide not to pay attention to the fact that these are miserable people. I remember Bradley Cooper's portrayal of in The American Sniper. And towards the end, like, he couldn't spend a single second with his family. He was constantly just worried about his men. And he was a very frantic, very miserable guy towards the end of things. And he never was able to sort of shake himself out of that. And, well, he died the way that he lived, essentially. And it wasn't good. It wasn't good things. Anyways, that's our stream for tonight. That's our broadcast. I was going to try to do the C2W and everything, but I'm tired. It's a fucking $1:30 in the morning already. It's rough. Actually, C2W subsistence actually sounds pretty fun. Wow, I didn't know that you could choose to head straight there and try to take him on mano a mano. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And if I'm being dispatched without sortie prep, does that mean that I'm being dispatched as this bozo, or am I going to be dispatched as a motherfucking Salad Sanke, you know? Venom Snake. Damn it!
Boss, you need
This
to disable the
motherfucker.
Soviets' reinforcement system by putting a hole in their base-to-base comms network. And
The thing is,
communications post and destroy its comms equipment. First, use the binoculars.
Snake can do a lot of things,
Equipment at the facility.
all involving his fake arm. He can do, if I've developed it, he can do sonar. But he can do lots of things. This Diamond Dog soldier cannot do lots of things. We'll wait for the guy in the truck. And that should allow us to look for him. Without this prosthetic hand, then I have one less tool in the toolbox on a subsistence mission, which already means that I'm fucking deploying with nothing. There he is. There he goes.
Come back safe, boss.
Talk. Where are your friends?
Thank you. By the way, just checking, but, yeah, if I have a handgun, thank you. You're a peach. See you later. Like I said, you can keep waking him up over and over again. I said this in a previous broadcast. You can keep waking him up over and over and over again. And each time he's going to whip out another handgun. It's wonderful. You can get maximum handgun ammo from any soldier. He'll just keep whipping out more and more handguns. You'll get 10 bullets each time. Until you're all full on handgun bullets. But I just went from 0 weapons to 2 weapons. I did it without, there's no reflex mode on subsistence missions. So, I could say that I did it without activating reflex, but I wouldn't have been able to activate reflex in the first place. By the way, the old tricks still apply. Sending out a ton of people on dispatch missions, that can enhance your chance of success. Not just the dispatch missions, but you can also fuck up this place beforehand, before you do the subsistence mission. And of course, they won't have that spotlight if you take it out. That's not it. It's door number 2. But why? For America. That's why.
Okay, subject is in.
Okay, more than 30 meters away. And this guy's out of here. Hooray!
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
I'm in the wrong... got the wrong camouflage on. I'm wearing basic fatigues. The only weapons that I have are stolen. I did not know that this... diamond existed. I've never seen this before. Dear viewer, your influence. I swear, it's ridiculous. Your presence here. I'm squeezing this lemon. And fucking juice is coming out. It's weird. 1,200 hours, there's still juice coming out of this lemon. I swear, it's all because of you. You're jinxing this. Thank you, dear viewer. I keep discovering new shit, and it's all your fault. I was pushing the damn button. Like a moron. I was pushing the button for night vision giggles. I'm like, why aren't my night vision giggles working? I don't have night vision giggles. And it's not even a laughing matter. I wonder if I can swoosh around these peeps. I don't know if there's anything worth taking from yonder. I'll swoosh on around them. Fuck fighting with these guys. Just take this bad boy off-roading. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Beep beep motherfuckers. This thing's probably a diesel. Oh, boys. The only thing this damn thing is missing is a crank in the back. Fire it up the old-fashioned way, you know. Way back when, you know, way earlier in this broadcast, I started on a thought. Sorry about that. I've got the strongest possible dosage of ADHD medication. I am tapped. There's only so much I can do, boyo. Now, can I do this? That's the real test of strength. Eat shit! Anyway, you want to join Diamond Dogs? It's Taco Tuesday.
Where are your friends?
So,
We know where to find the target. Check your iDroid. You gotta extract him.
okie dokie. Just in case it doesn't pop both tasks, I want to try and take this outpost.
Complete. Explosives should take care of them well enough. How you do it is up to you.
And the whole reason why we had to drive to the other town is, remember, we were deployed with nothing. Nothing whatsoever. As a part of being deployed with nothing whatsoever, that also includes not having any cardboard box. So this guy's coming over to check on his mate. Tell him a joke he just heard.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Hey, buddy. I just heard this joke. Check it out. Two blondes walk into a bar. You think one of them would have seen it, right? That joke is sexist. Alright. We'll fucking do the checkpoint. Checkpoint's gonna hurt less than...
Enter the Eastern Communications Post and destroy the target equipment. Its location is on your iDroid.
The checkpoint's gonna hurt less than, an alert. Points-wise.
Where are your friends?
You know where to find the target. Check your iDroid.
Speak. Where are your friends?
You gotta extract him.
But just in case the one of the mission tasks don't pop, I'm gonna try to take this entire outpost because
relay messages between outposts. Take it out and the mission's complete.
it's easier to
How you do it is up to you.
take the entire outpost if you're going to take out the radio. If you're just going to shoot the damn satellite dishes, well, that's what we've been doing this entire time, and we've been doing it by helicopter. So we can just do it again by helicopter, you know? Two blondes walk into a bar, you'd think one of them would have seen it.
Where are your friends?
He had a shit gun. Yeah, a good old-fashioned shit gun.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
I don't know who the fuck spotted me from the right last time. So anyway, I began a thought earlier. Started talking about Mgsv, Dr. Mgsv, author of Flow, The Psychology of Optimal Experience. That's why he fucking spotted me last time, is he keeps doing this fucking change in direction thing.
Hands up. Spit it out. Where are the others?
Whoever the fuck is spotting me, I'm gonna hide over here. In fact, I'm really gonna hide over here. Well, that'll work too.
Hands up. Get down. Talk. Where are your friends?
Really? He's just like mildly curious?
He's coming too. Roger that.
Hands up. Spit it out.
This is a fucking risky strat,
Friends.
but I'm doing it. And you can't stop me.
Where are the others?
You gotta extract him.
No, you didn't. This guy did. The guy who just shot him out of the sky is not the guy that got on the radio.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Eat shit.
Don't move. Talk.
Like I said, this is an extremely risky strat.
Where are your friends?
I'm doing it anyway. Man, after all those helicopter runs, they still have fucking electricity over here. What kind of shit is that? I better take out Buddy Boy before he wakes up. Are you the last man standing over there, buddy?
Where are your friends?
Okay. Oh, wait a minute.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
I see you now.
Hands up. Spit it out.
But where's your buddy that I just saw? Where did he go? Oh, this guy's staring right at me, but he won't be able to see me in this sandstorm. Hey, guy. Where's the last guy in here?
Where are the others?
I seen him for just a heartbeat. Oh, I hope he gets up there safely. Thought I saw him over here.
Roger
Is he over here? Is he over here? Is that a flag that's casting those shadows? Thought I heard a footstep on my right. Could be a flag clinking up against the flagpole. There's one guy. I thought I saw another guy in a riot suit. Oh shit. Maybe I didn't see a guy in a riot suit.
Where are your friends?
Dokily dokily.
You got to extract him.
Fuck your power.
He's coming too. Roger
Okay. Alright, I gotta do mission tasks before I finish the mission. Sometimes if you punch up the radio first, then both mission tasks won't pop. Sometimes whenever you punch up the damn the satellites first, then both mission tasks won't pop. I have no idea how to consistently make both mission tasks. Should be some mines up here, I guess not. One of the mission tasks is to stare at these, stare at that,
that antenna is...
stare at that,
That's another one of the targets.
stare at that. Good.
That looks like the target. We know where all the antennas are now. Take out all three of them. How you do it is your call. We have the locations of all the targets. Destroy each. Good work. You've completed your objective. Now get out of the hot zone.
Okay. The only mission task that we can't do is to extract one of these containers. Barrel blast. Like I said, sometimes whenever you take out both mission tasks will pop. Sometimes only one will.
Roger.
It doesn't look like I'm getting too many of them to pop in the first place. Another fucking dummy. Keep trying to equip my fucking night vision giggles. No, I got everything. Yep. Oh, look at that. I got everything. Everything except extracting one of these. Or that one over there. Can't do it. See, check it out. I can try. But it fails. Woo! Screw you guys! Fuck your whole base, dude. Fuck your whole base. Do not tell me that was an S rank all tasks but one performance. Look at that distinguished service medal too. No fucking way, dude.
We're gonna tell stories about this one, boss.
Y'all. You know, instead of going out with a whimper, I can go out with a roar. Look at that shit. That's all I fucking do, boys. That's all I fucking do. Anyway, let me try to fucking finish this thought right quick. So, Mgsv, flow, the psychology of personal or optimal experience, all that shit. It's all fine and dandy. And it's, you know, he explains that whenever you get a balance, whenever you have a balance in between an action's difficulty and your skill, so that it's not too difficult or your skill level's not too low, so it's not frustrating, and it's not too easy or your skill level's not too high, so it's not boring. Whenever you balance out those things, physically speaking, that's whenever you get into the flow, or rather, you get into the zone, right? That's the physical portion, is getting into the zone. You don't even, like, you don't even know what you're doing anymore. It's all like muscle memory. You're not in your body, you're not in your head, and you're just performing. You're just fucking going, you know, you're at maximum capacity. And time flies by, and that's the zone. Whenever it comes to a mental version of this, so like whenever a coder will go to one of these code until dawn things, and they just get into a flow and everything, the mental version of the zone is called flow. So that's that, right? So there's your different, you know, bits and pieces of the process. Mgsv said that you can get to a state, an emotional state, called bliss or joy, and by you do that by getting into the zone physically or the flow mentally as often as humanly possible, multiple times per day if you can, for both of them. The zone, flow, getting into those states spending as much time as you can in those states will result in a state known as bliss or joy. It's an emotional state. So what it changes is if your regular human being is kind of almost constantly at a 5, maybe they forgot their phone at home whenever they went to work and now they can't look at their phone, so now they're at a 4. Maybe they, got into almost got into a fender bender in traffic and that kind of ruined their day a little bit. Maybe they're like a 3 out of 10. And if they actually did get in a fender bender, it'd be like a 2 out of 10. And if they had a loved one die that day, then they might be a 1 out of 10. They might be pretty bad, but they'll bounce back to that 5 out of 10 just naturally. And for those who are experiencing bliss or joy, their natural starting point is like a 7 or 8 out of 10. So like your normal person, they'll get like their favorite meal for lunch. They'll go down there. It's another amazing meal, so it's like 6 out of 10. The cute gal at the desk finally asked him out, so now they're riding a little bit high, so it's like a 7 out of 10. They got the boss wasn't around, so they were able to like listen to their favorite music all day while they were working. So boom, now they're at like an 8 out of 10. Then they look in their jacket pocket and they find some extra cash. Now it's like they're like a 9 out of 10. This is a good ass day, Then they get called into the office by their boss. He finally steps into the office and everything just to be promoted. Now he's 10 out of 10. He's fucking like, this is a great fucking day. And eventually he will to that 5 out of 10. That's your average human being. But those who are experiencing joy or bliss will have like a 7 or 8 out of 10. They're never going to be fucking 10 all the damn time. All right, be realistic. Nobody's ever happy 1,000 fucking % of the time. All right, but these people experiencing joy or bliss, they can have like a starting point of every day at like a 7 or 8 out of 10. Remember, that's like your favorite meal and the cute receptionist asked you out. That's 2 major events in the day, but this person's starting the day at like a 7 or 8 out of 10. They're waking up with a motherfucking smile on their face. This is good shit. This is good shit. That's what bliss kind of is. Your set point has been changed from a 5 to about a 7, or maybe even an 8 if you're getting real good at this. That's what joy feels like. That's what bliss feels like. That's the state. And you can, through a really bad day and getting through a death of a loved one and everything, you might temporarily get sucked all the way back down to a 1, but you'll bounce back to that 7 or 8, and you'll bounce back because it's like a spring. You'll bounce back that much quicker. You'll be able to get over that death. You'll be able to mourn much more quickly, and you'll be able to get back into the groove of things much more quickly, all because you have that set point. So that set point of that 7 or 8 out of 10, that set point's going to be there for you. And like I said, you're going to bounce back to it real quick, even if you have a string of really bad days. You know what I mean? So that's the experience of a joy or bliss. The experience of depression is the exact opposite. You might have a set point of a 3 or a 2 out of 10, and you can easily go down to a 1. There was a point in time whenever I was active duty in the military. Real shit, alright? Real shit time. Whenever I was active duty in the military, I told one of my favorite coworkers a joke. And he didn't like it. He didn't like that joke. In fact, he took offense to it and even threatened to fight me. But he would have whooped my ass. He was pretty big. And I managed to, take a step back and everything and say, like, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it, and all this kind of stuff. But, what's going on with you? What's happening, He says, oh, I'm just already pissed off about this other thing. And I said, oh, okay, well, like I said, you know, no offense and everything, just a little off-color joke and everything. I'll never step on that topic ever again. But anyways, I gotta go to my next thing. And I went to the back gate. That's where I was going. Went to the back gate, took over for the person that was there, and they got to go do something else. And for the next about at least 2 hours, if not 4 hours or 6 hours, I was back there in tears. And not just like crying tears and everything. It was the first and only time while I was active duty, in fact, the only time in the world that I've ever, I took my pistol, my service pistol, the Beretta M9 at the time. This had to be about 2008, maybe early 2009 that this happened. I took out my Beretta M9, which was in condition 3, which meant that a magazine full of live rounds were inserted, but there wasn't any in the chamber. And I racked the slide back to put one in the chamber. And I sat there fiddling with the safety, trying to decide to turn it on or to turn it off, and to put that thing up against my head or in my mouth. Pull the trigger. Now remember how this came about, right? Why did it come about? One of my favorite coworkers didn't like my joke. That's serious shit. That's really fucking serious shit, is it not? That's really fucking bad. Now you understand how I lived most of my life before I turned 30 years old. That day, there was something inside of me that told me to put the gun away. And as soon as I got home from shift, that second, I called up the suicide hotline. And I talked to somebody who specialized with veterans. And they talked me through. They said, what do you want to do after you leave active duty in the military? And I told them that I wanted to, I just wanted to be like the PE coach or something that, you know, sits there and watches all the kids play the game wrong. You know, that's what I wanted to do. And she asked me, then why are you going to wait 20 years until you retire just to do that? Because that was my plan at the time. And that was the day that I started planning to exit active duty once my contract had expired. I served honorably until then, but as soon as I was off work, my mind was off work too. For the first time in my entire active duty career. As soon as I was off work, so was my mind. I was out there planning a future. Now, it all didn't amount to shit. Had a bad plan. You know, I built my castle out of pillars of sand, and there was lots of people, there was lots of bullies on the particular beach that I was planning to go through that were ready and willing to knock over any sand castles that I made. So there's lots of factors that led to it, but the thing was, it got me through those tough times. But that's how severe my my clinical depression was, my major depressive disorder. Remember that I currently am on the maximum possible dosage of sertraline that you possibly can be on. You hear that? Sertraline tablets, USB, 100 milligrams. Take 2 tablets by mouth every morning for depression. It used to say for mood. Now it says for depression. Either way. So that's the maximum possible dose that human beings are capable of being prescribed around, in America at least. I don't know if it's like that for other countries. But that's how depressed I was for 30 years of my life before I went and finally went to the loony bin. Found out that it's not that bad. Got a week-long vacation from all of my responsibilities while I was in there. Food wasn't that bad either. Got to talk to some fellow veterans. Lots of daytime TV. It was a little boring, but I got my diagnosis and everything else. So that whole thing with depression, I probably had a set point of every day of about a 2 out of 10. I would say regular depression's probably a 3 out of 10. Mild depression's probably 4 out of 10. Everybody starts the day at 4 out of 10 with mild depression. My depression was about 2 out of 10. I could get to 10 just like anybody else. I could get to 10 with a really, really, really fucking good day. But it wouldn't last long. The smiles would fade the second that my door closed in the barracks room. And I could obviously get to 1 if anything bad happened at all. I could obviously and easily get to 1 and stay there for hours. So the spring was operating in the opposite direction. If I ever reached a 10 out of 10 and I was feeling fantastic, it didn't last long. It would spring back to my set point of 2 out of 10. And if anything bad happened at all, it was catastrophic and had me suicidal without an ounce of over-exaggeration here. So that's the way that I had it explained to me, and still to this day, I think that that's pretty fucking accurate. Anyway, I'll let you go. Thanks for tuning in. Next time it'll be more exciting because we are done with all the grindy bits, pretty much. And next time I get to do extreme back up, back down.